I call this story the Book of Doom. Once upon a time, in old Salem, at the very height of the Salem witch trials, there was a group of old hags who met every night at midnight in an old cemetery. Everyone said that they were a coven of witches, as they always read aloud by a fire from a book entitled Miraculum Veteris Magicae, which is Latin for the miracle of old magic. They were said to perform rituals involving secret spells and hexes. But no matter how hard the citizens of Salem tried, they could not find proof that these women were actually guilty of anything. But one day the people called a special meeting in the town hall and told their story to the chief magistrate of the village of Salem. He was the Honorable Judge Bell Goodley. He was named Bell because of a very unusual birthmark that he had on his face, which looked exactly like a red bell. So the people lovingly called him Judge Bell. They presented all the facts to him. He heard them and made the following proclamation. I propose that we send a group of stout men out to confiscate this book. Then I, who have long studied the Latin tongue, shall interpret the contents within, that we may proceed with this case from there. The village council agreed and obtained the strange volume. Judge Bell read from the book and translated it aloud to the people of Salem. Everyone agreed that the writing in the book was evil, and possibly the very words of the devil himself. But no one had proof that these old crones had actually performed any spells from the book. So Judge Bell announced, I hereby proclaim that since we have no real evidence of a crime, the only thing to do is to accuse the book itself of witchcraft. So I hereby find this book to be worthy of destruction. At 7 o'clock on the morrow, I shall carry out my order by burning this book in the hearth of the village square to end this evil once and for all. With that, he took the book into his possession and adjourned the meeting. The next day, at the appointed hour, the entire village arrived to watch the burning of the book, including the old women who were thought to be witches. The people cheered with delight as kerosene was poured upon the book, and a torch set it ablaze. But after several minutes, when the flames finally died out, it was seen that the covers of the book had burned off, yet the pages were white as if new. So they lit a new blaze to the book. Once again, the pages of the book would not burn. People shrieked in fear and went home to pray. The judge once again took the book into his possession and stored it in his office. The next day, the council members went to call upon the judge to ask for further advice, but he was nowhere to be found. They combed the village for days, but Judge Bell had simply disappeared. Then one day, the chief prosecutor went to the judge's office and found the old book. Suddenly, he screamed and cried aloud for his fellow citizens. They came in running and saw the terror and the very look of doom upon the prosecutor's face. After he had regained his sense again, he said, Gentle folks, you recall that we burned the wicked book, but that although the cover was burned, the pages remained intact. At that moment, he pointed to the old volume. It looked as if it had been reborn, as if it had a fresh cover. But then, as the book was passed around for inspection, a maddening horror descended upon them all. The book was covered in a tan-colored leather and in the center of the cover was a bright red bell. When the body of the judge was finally recovered, the townspeople saw that the skin from the judge's face had been cut off with surgical precision. The old women suspected of being witches were rounded up, and using only a little bit of torture, they all confessed to the terrible deed. Half of them were burned alive that very evening. The other half, after watching them being burned, were then themselves hanged, and then their bodies were burned as well. Peace was finally restored to the village of Salem, but we learn a most important lesson from this tale of evil and horror. Never cover a book by its judge.
Texas Comedy.
Banned in 37 states and in Guam.